This is James Harden playing a basketball game before the NBA changed its rules.
Denver had a great playoffs last year in the NBA, and there's Harden.
Tough to score on these Grizzlies, and a long three-ball attempt by Harden. Down low there between Nene and Lopez, and then Harden gets fouled by Carter Williams on the three.
He is by far the leader in getting to the free throw line with his free throw attempts.
And this is James Harden playing this season.
As this team had 4 20-point scores that night. James Harden misses. Rebound Harris.
Martin Brings says he's our X factor off the bench. As Harden doesn't get the whistle, but does get the bucket.
Offensive firepower, though, without Kyrie Irving. It's a huge gap to fill. Harden tried to draw the foul, didn't get the call.
Harden one-on-one with Connaughton. Turns the corner. Help doesn't matter.
Currently, James Harden is averaging 17.3 points per game and 4.8 turnovers per game. He's shooting 36% from the field, and get this. He is attempting 3 free throw attempts a night, which means James Harden is currently, without a doubt, having the worst season of his career since his 3rd season in the NBA back when he was 22 and still on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I know the season is early, but here's the problem for James Harden among other NBA stars. The NBA as a league has made some serious changes to what they call a foul, and they are supposed to keep these new foul rules in place not only for this entire season, but they're supposed to keep them just in general going forward, which means we have to ask, what exactly is going on? Are these new foul rules really going to change the game this much? Who else is suffering from these new rules? And finally, are these new rules something we should like, or are they just too much? So what's up guys, Mike here, and I am excited to announce that with this new season, we are going to have a 3 times a week upload schedule starting next week, so please subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss that, because trust me guys, the content here is about to take a step up. Trust me, I know you're going to enjoy this video, and I know you're about to enjoy a lot of videos in the future. So again, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and leave a like on this video. It helps me out a ton with YouTube's algorithm. Now, looking at this video overall for this season, we can see that the NBA's new foul rules are definitely working, because if we take a look at statmuse.com, we find that the average NBA team this season is attempting 19.9 free throw attempts a game, the lowest ever since this stat has been tracked. Now, if you don't know what the new rules are in regards to fouls, quickly the NBA created this tweet with the main points being: there will be an interpretive change in the officiating of overt, abrupt, or abnormal non-basketball moves by offensive players with the ball in an effort to draw fouls. Now, as you can see by the many examples playing on your screen, basically what all of this means is that it has become a lot harder for an offensive player to look to draw fouls by initiating contact. And I know High Roller did a whole video looking at the rise of 3-point shooting fouls in the NBA in the last few years. That is a great video. I highly suggest watching it, but that's not what we're talking about here. Now guys, before we continue, I do want to say thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. And guys, if you did not know, DraftKings has brought their expertise to legal sports betting. That's right, DraftKings Sportsbook is a sportsbook that is based right here in the US, so that means that you know your funds are safe. In fact, DraftKings is actually America's top rated sportsbook, which means it's secure, it's reliable, it's safe, and you can deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. So right now guys, go download DraftKings Sportsbook, sign up, and use the promo code Korzemba. I say that because right now DraftKings is offering new customers up to $1,000 in free credits. $1,000. All you have to do is make a deposit to be able to receive a deposit bonus of up to $1,000 in free credits. So head over to DraftKings Sportsbook app right now to see all they have to offer. They have player props, live betting, future betting, and so much more. Also, it's important to note that if DraftKings Sportsbook is not available yet in your state, don't forget about the DraftKings Fantasy app, where they offer millions of dollars in prizes every single week. So guys, the link to download DraftKings will be in the description below. Go download DraftKings, sign up, use my promo code Korzemba, get up to $1,000 in free credits if you make a deposit. Again, thank you to DraftKings, and let's continue with today's video. Because we're not discriminating, we are just looking at every shooting foul call, and wouldn't you know it, James Harden is again the clear poster boy for this foul change. And the thing is, James Harden and his coach Steve Nash both believe that the NBA is targeting him. They think that with these specific rules in place, James Harden is suffering the most. But before we continue to talk about Harden and other players such as Trae, Steph, and even Joel Embiid, I want to take another look at the numbers here, because taking taking a look back at StatMuse, we find something a little weird to me. Before the NBA changed its rules and free throw attempts were lowered this season, last season the league also had what was then the second lowest free throw attempts per game ever. In fact, going even further here, when using a basic comparison tool for the last 20 seasons, a stat called free throw rate, where we look at how many free throw attempts have been attempted season by season compared to field goal attempts, we find something extremely interesting. Because looking at this stat, it is clear not only to me but to anyone looking at this graph that the NBA has not had a foul problem lately, at least on the stat sheet. In fact, I'd say the problem was way worse in the mid-2000s, where the league produced a free throw rate of 33%, which basically breaks down to 1 free throw attempt for every 3 field goal attempts. Last season though, that number was clearly lower at 25%, as the ratio between field goal attempts to free throw attempts had already dropped to 4 field goal attempts for every 1 free throw attempt. So historically, free throw attempts have already been getting lower, and this season the free throw rate is even lower, and if the rules remain the same, we are looking at a season where we will watch as the league adjusts to a year where free throw attempts are not only not called as much as they were, but they will also be called at the lowest rate ever. And in my opinion, this is going to have some extremely interesting results, because if we do think about it, in recent years with more 3-pointers attempted, it does make sense that the league would take fewer free throws, as logic just tells us that it is easier to be fouled on a drive than a 3-point shot. But with that in mind, should we really be watching historically low free throw rates, or is the NBA overreacting here? Well, I'd say the main argument to be had here for what the NBA has been doing is that nobody really enjoys watching guys like James Harden arguably exploit the system and draw foul after foul. And really, while I do think James Harden is getting targeted too much at this point, his coach Steve Nash has said, quote, "I feel like he's unfairly become the poster boy of not calling these fouls." And Harden himself has said, "I'm not the one to complain about it. Sometimes I feel like coming into a game, it's already predetermined, or I have a stigma of getting foul calls." I do think he is the poster child for what the NBA is doing, but I also understand what the NBA is doing. Now, in his time in Houston, James Harden averaged at least 10 free throws a game 7 out of the 8 seasons he played there. This season, Harden was projected by Basketball Reference to take 9 free throw attempts per 36 minutes, a number that he has not approached taking. Is this an extreme drop? Does it seem like just way too much? Yes, but if we take James Harden out of the equation, if we just focus on how this has affected everyone else in the league, then I certainly think the argument can be made that this is a great rule change. Sorry you're getting screwed over, James. However, if we look at another notorious showman when it comes to fouls, unsurprisingly, Trae Young is also down in free throw attempts per game, as he averaged 9.3 in 2019, 8.7 last year, and now is shooting just 5.3 free throw attempts a game this season, despite shooting more field goal attempts a game this season. The difference between Trae and James Harden, and basically everyone else other than James Harden, is that Trae is averaging 25 points and 10 assists per game and is just fine. Sure, he is shooting a few less free throws per game, but other than that, everything looks pretty normal. And across the league, that seems to be the case, with one noticeable change. To me, it is obvious that while this rule change was meant to affect everyone, I guess, I will say it has certainly affected some players a lot more than others. Basically, if you are a player who takes both a high volume of 3-point shot attempts and free throw attempts, you probably are hurting this season. Among last year's top 10 in free throws attempted, we did have names such as Trae Young, Damian Lillard, Luka Doncic, and Bradley Beal. All 4 of these players are no longer in the top 10, and instead, they have all seen their free throw attempts decrease by about 3 a game, which, if we really think about it, is just 1 foul call on a 3-point attempt a night. So when you are these guys and you are attempting something like 6, 7, 8, 9 3-pointers a game, with the NBA's rule changes, it makes sense that you would take 3 less free throws a game, because your opponent is not getting called for a foul on a 3-point attempt nearly as much anymore. Meanwhile, we do find that the current new list of top 10 free throw shooters by attempt is populated by guys who this rule really has not affected as much. Guys such as Giannis, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Davis, and DeMar DeRozan are all actually shooting more free throws this year than compared to last season. Even Steph and Kevin Durant are shooting more free throws this year, which is interesting, especially with Steph, because he is a very high volume 3-point shooter. He's also certainly gotten his share of 3-point fouls called for him, but yet he is taking making more free throw attempts a game this season. Now, to be fair, we are working with a small sample size, but to me, the difference is this. It does appear that guys such as Steph have already worked on adjusting their games to this new NBA, and guys such as Trae and Luka and certainly James Harden still need some time to adjust. We certainly saw this during last summer's Olympic basketball, which we are going to show no footage of because the Olympics copyright strikes everything. But during last summer's run to the gold medal, the United States certainly struggled in the beginning of the Olympics because they were not getting the foul calls that they were used to. But the thing is, once they didn't get them, they adjusted their games. They learned how to play within these new rules. And again, the United States ended up winning a gold medal. So when it comes to basketball players that are as extremely talented as James Harden, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, the list goes on and on here. There are a bunch of players that have been affected by this rule. Overall, I think that current free throw attempts are just a very interesting thing to note right now in this current point in the season. And from here, we're gonna see, does the NBA hold strong and keep calling fouls the same way? I hope they do, because I've got to say, I think that this is a very good thing. I think that foul hunting on offense just is not interesting. I've liked the style of basketball that we've been watching. I want to know what you guys think down below, so make sure to comment. We will be for sure doing a follow-up on this video, maybe sometime mid-season, maybe sometime at the end of the season. I am definitely interested to see where the numbers take us, but I also want to say there is today's video. If you're not already subscribed, guys, please subscribe and turn on post notifications. That way you never miss a video. Also, please sure to leave a like. It helps out a ton with YouTube's algorithm. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome. We all know it. And as always, have an awesome day, guys, and cue that music. If you're still here while the music is cued, here are two videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're gonna love it. And other than that, have a great day and peace.